Welcome you all for the solid waste management session. So in the previous class we were studying about the biomedical waste. In that we studied what is the definition of biomedical waste, what are the sources of biomedical waste, and what are the policies which are established to handle this biomedical waste, and how to collect this biomedical waste. That is collection method we studied. Once it is collected the biomedical waste from the hospitals, clinics and pathological laboratories, or from a research laboratories, it has to be transported and then it has to be disposed. So before it has to be transported, labeling of the biomedical waste is done. So how this labeling of this biomedical waste is done, that we'll discuss in the today's session. Labeling is essential for the correct identification and safe management of biomedical waste. Labeling makes the identification and handling of different types of medical waste easier. It is also warn the workers, patients and the public about the existence of the waste and their potential health hazards. Okay. All labeling and signposting should show the international symbols and color coding. All the infected, soiled or the pathological, human and sharp waste should be marked with a biohazard symbol in black color representing the psychotoxic waste. The symbol of psychotoxic waste is written in a triangle. Okay. So by doing the biomedical waste, I can separate the hazardous waste and the non-hazardous biomedical waste, and it will help for the workers to carry the waste very easily. If it is hazardous, they will handle it very carefully. If they are non-hazardous, they can handle it as normal. So to differentiate between hazardous and non-hazardous, we need to label them. For biomedical waste, it is labeled as a cytotoxic hazardous, that is C is written in a triangle. It is used for labeling. Labeling of the waste at the generation point should be in the form of tag or adhesive label attached to the collection bank or a container prior to being collected by the cleaning staff. The waste lagging system will allow the waste audits conducted in the treatment and the disposal site to identify those areas that are in the compliance or non-compliance with the required hospital waste management practices. So how this labeling is done? Labeling is done in a triangle. C is marked, that is psychotoxic hazardous waste, and it is should be in the form of tag or it should be adhesive label in the form of stickers. So once labeling is done, then the storing of the biomedical waste or the storage of a biomedical waste is done as follows. According to the rules, the infectious waste cannot be stored for more than 46 hours. However, hospital waste may need to be stored if immediate treatment and disposal cannot be done. These waste should be refrigerated on site to prevent the rotting or evolution of offensive smell. So usually what they say that hazardous waste should be stored up to only 48 hours. But in some cases, if you want to store it for the more than 48 hours, it should be refrigerated. Otherwise it will smells like a rotten egg, means the spoiled egg, so which will give a offensive or non-sustainable smells. These waste then curated and stored in off-site storage facilities built in RCC notified areas away from the general public. So because these are offensive smells and will cause the corrosion to the RCC building and should be kept away from the RCC building and from the public. These storage houses must be properly designed to allow the proper outflow of washed down water and the rainwater. So once it is stored in a refrigerator, how the transportation is done? The transportation of biomedical waste to the treatment or the disposal site. Waste in a hospital should be frequently lifted from a well-marked designed collection points in a hospital wards and rooms. Open trolleys are often used to collect the waste from individual basins. Okay, what they do, each waste is collected from individual rooms and open trolleys are used for collection of this type of waste. In all such cases, each bin and each trolley must be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected with a 1% solution of bleaching powder at least once a week. The washing of these trolleys is done with a 1% of bleaching powder solution at least in a week. The movement of the sanitation staff should be prevented or minimized to the designed clean areas of the hospital. Automated waste handling and transport system is much better than the manual ones. The vehicle used for waste transport to the disposal site should not be used for any other purposes. It should be kept for only the transportation of this biomedical waste, not for other purposes. Such vehicles should be labeled and designated for the purpose by the authorities. Should label them as only for biomedical waste, such a way that you need to specify and then label it on those vehicles, and that should be used only for that particular purpose. So once it is transported, next either it is disposed on a landfills or it is treated. So what are the treatment or disposal methods which are employed or which are applied for this biomedical waste? We'll see. So the various methods used for disposing of hazardous waste from the hospitals include chemical disinfection, autoclaving, hydroclaving, microclaving and incineration. So the chemical disinfection is called as a chemical process. Autoclaving, hydroclaving, microclaving and incineration is called as a thermal process. So remember, this question is frequently asked: what are the treatment and disposal methods used for biomedical waste? Then you should explain all the 5. Okay. So in addition to the above method, landfilling may also used for disposal of some particular type of biomedical waste, as stated in a table, that is previous table. Landfill or a burial of hospital waste may pose the following problem: difficulty posed in a safe transport, difficulty availability of a waste landfill site, potential sources of air, soil and groundwater contamination, health threat to the community, potential risk to the scavengers, animals, birds and rat pickers. So if you dispose it in a biomedical waste to the landfill, this will cause the air, soil and the groundwater contamination, and it will affect to the public which are surrounding to that, and it will cause the risk to the scavengers, animals, birds and rat pickers, the person who will come for picking that waste. So for them also it will cause the infections. So to avoid that, the landfilling method of biomedical waste is avoided. Then what the method which is used, that we'll see. First one is chemical method, that is chemical disinfection, followed by mutilation or shredding may also sometimes be adopted for disposal of the waste items like syringes, needles, globes, etc. First they will do the chemical disinfection, then they will reuse it or they will dispose it on a landfills. So remaining methods. So how this chemical disinfection is done? What is the chemical method of this treating the waste is? Chemical disinfection is, in this method, the waste is disinfected by using chemicals like chloride compounds such as bleaching powder, etc. Other chemicals like iodine, alcohol, phenolic compounds, hexachlorophene, formaldehyde, etc. So remember, what are the chemicals which are used for chemical disinfection are chlorine compounds such as bleaching powder. You can use a bleaching powder for disinfecting the biomedical waste. So we all know what is the meaning of disinfection. Disinfection is killing up of microorganism. The process of killing the microorganism is called as a disinfection. So to kill this microorganism, they can use bleaching powder or iodine or alcohol or phenolic compounds or hexachlorophene or formaldehyde. However, 1% solution of bleaching powder or hypochlorite is most commonly used disinfectant for a disinfection process. All such chemicals shall be used in aqueous solution in which the waste items shall be kept submerged. Syringes and all the pipes will be kept submerged in this aqueous solution, means liquid solutions. Many of the waste items may even need shredding before disinfection, as to help providing the sufficient contact between the waste and the disinfectant. In this method, the shredded wet waste containing a disinfected chemicals will need a final disposal. The method can hence be used for disposing of solid waste like tubes, catheters, blood and urine bags, globes, sharp like needles, syringes, etc. So these are all materials can be treated with this chemical disinfection, which can be buried after disinfection and shredding. Shredding means separation. So once it is disinfected, it is separated from the water, then it is disinfected and then it is buried. So this is the method what we will follow for chemical disinfection. So once it is disinfected with the chemicals, then you can bury it or you can dispose it on a open land. Okay, other thermal processes. So first one is autoclaving. I think you all know the autoclaves. Okay, so we'll see what is this autoclaving. It is also called as a steam sterilization. We are going to produce some steam in a container. So in that the syringes and all we are going to clean it. So because of that steam which is produced, from that steam that steam is going to kill the microorganism. That is what autoclaving or steam sterilization. It is a low heat thermal process and designed to bring steam into direct contact with the waste in controlled manner and for sufficient duration to disinfect the waste. The three types of autoclaves are: one is gravity system, one is pre-vacuum system and retrort system. So what is gravity autoclave? That we'll see. They are those in which pressure of steam alone is used to evacuate the air from the treatment chamber. They operate with a steam temperature of about 121 degrees Celsius. These steams require the cycle time of approximately 60 to 90 minutes in order to achieve full steam penetration into the most densely packed waste loads. See, in the cylindrical chamber will be this. In this cylindrical chamber, we are going to produce the steam by boiling the water. So in that steam, we are going to upload the wastes and it will be remain about 60 to 90 minutes. So when you upload these wastes, so that steam will kill all the microorganisms. So that will be free from the microorganisms. Next is pre-vacuum type autoclave. These are the which evacuate air from the treatment chamber using vacuum pumps. This enables them to reduce the cycle time about 30 to 60 minutes. In the above method, we are keeping the air inside that chamber. Here, we are not keeping any of the air. We are evacuating the chamber. Means we are removing all the air and only 30 to 60 minutes is given. At the 132 degrees Celsius, we are going to boil the water and in that steam, we are going to sterilize. Since it is also called as sterilization or autoclaving. So that is pre-vacuum type. And another retrort. They consist of a large volume treatment chambers designed for much higher steam temperature and pressures, and hence their cycle time can be substantially lower than those of other systems. So nearly about 10 to 15 minutes they are going to sterilize the waste. Then you can dispose it on a lands. Okay, that is the types of autoclaving. And next is what autoclaving is, what steam production or steam sterilization. Next we have a hydroclaving. In innovation of the autoclave is the hydroclave. Here the indirect heating is done by providing the steam into the outer jacket of the double walled container, while the waste inside the inner container is turned on by suitable mechanism. This causes the waste to be fragmented and continuously dumbled against the hot vessel walls. The moisture content of the waste changes into a steam and the vessel starts pressurize. In the absence of enough moisture in the waste to pressurize in the vessel, a small amount of steam is added until the desired pressure is reached. The treatment time is hardly 15 minutes at 132 degrees Celsius or 30 minutes at 121 degrees Celsius. So in this, what they are going to do, indirect heating is done providing the steam into the outer jacket. So here the inside, in the first process what we have done, steam is produced inside only, but here the steam is produced outside the chamber. Then that steam the steam heat is given to that chamber. Because of that heat, the fragmentation occurs, the biomedical waste getting into a fragmented, that is what hydroclaving. Next is microwave. In the thermal treatment system described above, the waste is heated externally, while in a microwave, heating occurs inside the waste material. This process involves pre-shedding of the waste, injecting with the steam, and heating for 25 minutes at 25 degrees Celsius under the series of micro units. Micro radiation is designated that portion of electromagnetic radiation spectrum lying between the frequencies of 3000 MHz to 3 lakh MHz, and the microbial inactivation occurs as a result of thermal effect of radiation and not from any intrinsic non-thermal property. So microcurving, however, cannot be used for human organs and tissues waste. This technique does not reduce the volume of waste also. So you all know the microwave. How this microwave works? Microwave works based off on electromagnetic waves, in that the microwaves is captured and that is going to produce some heat, and because of that heat the food is going to boil. In the same way, the microwaves which are present in the electromagnetic radiation is used for heating the biomedical waste, that is called as a microwave treatment. And incineration, you all know what is incineration. Incineration is burning of the biomedical waste in the presence of oxygen, is called as a incineration. So incineration system involve high temperature combustion under the control condition to convert the waste containing infection and pathologic material into inert mineral residues and gases. So that is inert mineral residues, ash and the gases. So when you burn the waste, there is a release of some gases and there is a release of some inert material called as a ash. So that is produced from a incineration. So totally the incineration is burning of a solid waste or burning of biomedical waste in the presence of oxygen with high temperature is called as a incineration. The following types of incinerators are generally used in hospitals, that is liquid waste incineration and rotary kiln incineration. So we studied what is rotary kiln and liquid waste incinerator in the previous units. So almost 90% of all the hazardous waste incinerator installations belong the above are two categories. The rest, about 10%, are fluidized bed and pyrolysis systems, which are preliminary used for incinerating the sludge waste of sewage treatment plants and city refuse respectively, not the biomedical waste. Okay, so how this liquid waste incinerator and rotary kiln are operated, that we studied in a previous unit. So these are all the thermal process. First one is the chemical treatment, second one is the thermal treatment. In chemical treatment, we have a chemical disinfection, and in thermal treatment we have 4 methods, that is autoclaving, hydroclaving, microwaving and incineration. Okay, so all of you, so this completes the biomedical waste management, that is collection, storage, transportation and disposal. So all the students go through this biomedical waste management topic, and if you have any doubt, and text me out in a WhatsApp, I'll reply for you surely. Thank you all of you.